Welcome back, everyone. This is the final race for round 5 of the OSKCS Club League. So after the first 2 heats, they went pretty well. I am starting the final in P4, although my grid position looks like P3. This is where the race director told me to grid up, so that's where I went. Yeah, so I think I'm technically starting from P3 on the grid. Not sure what happened there, but not going to complain either. Alright, so yeah, just doing a warm-up lap here. Again, trying to get some heat into the tires. Overall, today there was a lot of grip, I felt like. Tires came into pressure right into the window that I wanted, so I felt like my tire pressures were dialed. Played around with those on Saturday. Yeah, very happy with tire pressure tuning. A lot of grip around this track. It was about 83, 84 degrees. It's a little bit different on a standing start. Your ultimate tire grip going into turn 1 isn't as important. Just comparatively lower speeds into turn 1 from a standing start, but still important. Hanging around turn 2, if you can get your tires gripped up and stay flat through there, that can be a big advantage going into turn 3. Here we go, rolling up to the grid, and like I said in a previous video, the World Formula class is on track with us as well. Those are faster karts, faster 4-stroke karts. They're gridded up ahead with a grid space in between, which is why there's a big space in front of kart 96. That's Andy right up there. Alright, so all the drivers will get into position. The track marshal will give the signal and pass it over to the flagman, and we'll wait for the green flag to drop. And the green flag. I'm trying to hop a little bit. That can help with some acceleration, but as you can see, I'm still just a sitting duck compared to everyone else pulling away from me. Very frustrating, but you know, nothing I could really change during the weekend was fixing that. So it is what it is, and just had to put my head down and try to make up as many of the positions as I could during the race. So a big thing about LO206 racing is drafting and staying in the group. You have to be smart about when it makes sense to pass and when it makes sense to just stay in line. Making up a position there, 83 had a little bit of a moment and came back on and managed to follow her through kart 11. Coming down the front straight. Really, in this position, I should be gaining right up onto a bumper, and just did not have the top end speed today. Coming around turn 2, already gripped up, felt pretty locked down, which is good. Back on the bumper of 83, through the S's. Gosh, I love this section of the track. So fun, very flowy, and just flat out. Coming down to the tricky left-hander here. You can see 83 go wide. I capitalize on that moment and go around. So that's 2 positions made up. Now I'm just focusing on 69. Kart 69 and I were very close all weekend. As you see, I take a little bit more defensive line down the front straight. I knew I didn't have the top end speed and wanted to make sure that there wasn't any chance of a kart coming up the inside. Coming through the S's, a little bit of oversteer. Compromised my speed a little bit down the back straight. It wasn't too bad. You can see here trying to stay to the inside, and the track just falls away from you in the braking zone, making spotting your braking point quite difficult into that corner. This long right-hander into basically a flat-out final corner, at least in this configuration. So a little bit of a gap here. really hoping to gain the position on 69. She's currently in P3. I'm currently in P4. The kart she's contending with ahead of her is actually a World Formula kart, which I spoke about in previous races, so that's going to be a pretty difficult pass. I feel like I was getting more and more comfortable with that line through that left-hander. Able to carry quite a lot of speed, and yeah, I ended up really liking where I got onto that corner. So I'm not so much closing down on 69 as much as she's being held up a little bit by trying to get around kart 1. But in any case, we're closer. Turn 1 and 2 are pretty much flat out. Just have to pick your line and spot your apex quickly coming into this right-hander. It comes up on you quick. A little bit of a draft here through the S's. Was taking a more inside line compared to 69 all week. Tried to go on the inside there after a bit of a moment with kart 1. Not enough to hold on. My line was pretty compromised there. Just ended up having to lift and avoid tangling with kart 1 and 69. Now I'm just focused on just putting in a quick lap, trying to get back onto the bumper of 69 and kart 1. That's a big part of racing. Obviously I'm new to this, not an expert, but you know, just the mental headspace, just determining when it's best to put your head down and put in a fastest lap, when it makes the most sense to be a little bit more defensive, and when it makes the most sense to be looking for an opportunity to pass. Here 69 goes through kart 1, I follow her through, and we clear kart number 1. Now here's the issue though. Kart 1, like I mentioned, is a World Formula, which is a lot faster in a straight line than the 206s. So in the back of my head, I'm happy we passed him. However, I kind of knew that there was going to be a moment on the straights where he was going to come back at us. Just trying to stay on 69's bumper through the S's. Look for the gap there up the inside, trying to hold on to it. Not quite. Alright, just trying to close down that gap and look for another opportunity to pass. Still staying in front of the kart number 1. Happy about that. It was a little tricky, as you'll see later in this video. He's definitely faster than us on the straights, but I felt like I was significantly faster through the second half of the track, and yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off. Here you see kart 1 finally gets a run on me on the straight and goes forward to make the pass. So now I'm no longer contending with kart 69. Really, my job is to try to figure out a way to get in front of kart 1. I was a little frustrated here. You see me slap the steering wheel. The reason for that is I was a little frustrated that kart number 1, who's in a faster kart class than us, and whom we passed, decided to overtake and get between us. I was fighting for a podium there with kart 69, and kart 1 basically just gets in between us, and because of the speed advantage on the straights, it's impossible for me to find another opportunity to pass and make it stick. So a little bit frustrated, but that's how things go. Kart 1 is a newer driver. Talked to him after the race, and I think it was all good, but you know, it's just how things go when there's two classes. Able to go up the inside on the second to last corner. So happy I cleared him here, but then again, you see on the straight, he passes me back again, and the gap to 69 is now growing even more. So This is one of those moments where you really got to manage your headspace. I'll admit I let my frustration get the better of me, and that's pretty much all I was focused on. I just was really frustrated that I felt like Kart 1 prevented me from being able to battle with 69 for the podium. But you really can't do that. I should have just, kept my head cool and just tried to time my driving and my passing to get in front of them. So that is a mistake. I think that's a result of me being new, but something I can learn on and grow from. So by this point in the race, definitely flat out through the final corner, using all the track there on the exit at turn 3. In the practice session earlier today, I actually used a little bit too much more of the track there than the track that existed. I think Brundle likes to say ambition over adhesion. Scraped up the bottom of my cart a little bit, nothing too bad. But yeah, these tracks with the grass drop-off definitely penalize you for using more of the track than what's allocated to you. Alright, there we got the white flag, last lap. I'm really trying to close down this gap and try to make a pass in the final corner, because I know if I pass before the final corner, there's a good chance that Kart 1 is going to be able to get back at me. So, trying to get as close as possible down this back straight, close down the gap through this left-hander. And this following right-hander is pretty much the last opportunity I have to pass, and just not quite there. So, unfortunately, not able to get around Kart 1, let alone Kart 69. And we're going to see the checkered flag here and finish P4. But you know what? Overall, I'm very, very happy about that result. Like I said, this is my first true OSKCS kart racing weekend, and P4, I'm pretty proud of that. No accidents, felt like I didn't make a fool of myself, and had a lot of fun. So, on to the next.